That didn't look the most even of breaks, but we are racing, and Oscar Palomo has jumped into the lead from Adrian Harando, and I think that was Sammy Worship moving across to get into third place. In fact, Sammy Worship bidding to take an early lead off the pole sitter, Oscar Palomo. The Micromax youngsters all safely through turns 1, 2 and 3 on the opening lap of 15. Adrian Harando taking the lead on the opening lap from pole sitter Oscar Palomo. Adrian Harando, our early race leader, relieving Oscar Palomo, the pole sitter who jumped out into the lead. There goes Ayrton Simmons, who started in a front running position and is building on it. Adrian Harando, Sammy Worship, Axel Charpentier with a 1, 2 and 3 on the opening lap, and Oscar Palomo from that pole position must feel very disappointed to be 4th after 1 lap. Ayrton Simmons 5th, Daniel Nogales 6th, Santinho Mendes in 7th place is the best of the Portuguese, and Andre Pitts of Portugal is behind him in 8th place. Juan Carlos Rezoagli of Spain 9th, and Alejandro Lahoz completes the top 10. And Adrian Harando in car number 10, the race leader at the end of the opening lap, and still in that lead. Well, Sammy Worship has never been out of the top runners, either in the races, the pre-final this morning or this one, nor in the non-qualifying practice sessions, nor in qualifying practice. Oscar Palomo was frequently the fastest in the sessions, but just had that disappointing opening lap, didn't he? Ooh, a little bit of a nudge there. I think that was Santino Mendes receiving a little push from behind. Santino Mendes in 3rd place is the highest placed Portuguese driver. The 2 Spaniards in front of him, Adrian Harando and Sammy Worship. Really not sure if I'm saying Worship as the correct way Sammy would say it in Spain, but as an Englishman, that's how I'd say it. Santino Mendes of Portugal, the 3rd place driver. Once again, Oscar Palomo, still only in 4th place, having started on pole. Well, you know, guys, for these little kids here, this is as serious as it gets. Racing for a grand final title. Oh, and one of our front runners going out and off the tarmac and into the gravel. Not hurt in any way, but lost a lot of spaces. The point I wanted to make was, whilst for these guys it is all about winning and a good result, but those of us a little bit older can see the bigger picture, which is just look at the experience, not just of the racing on the tarmac, but the overall atmosphere. Oh, and a little bit of wheel banging there as we change the lead. Ayrton Simmons, I think Ayrton Simmons taking the lead, but possibly with the aid of a little nudge with the wheel. Not really sure, so let's just leave it there. The experience is immense for these kids. They've been rubbing shoulders with some of their heroes, and they won't forget this day and this weekend in a long time. Sadly, Delbeen Garcia went out of the race on the opening lap. Delbeen Garcia, his mum came to see me earlier in the week, and she was telling me how much she loves her boy, and she's going to be disappointed because Delbeen is out of the race, the only one of the 36 starters that we've lost, I do believe. Oh, and a driving standards flag. So one of the youngsters has been learning something a little bit naughty. Great dice for the lead. Ayrton Simmons in front of Adrian Harando. I think it was the leader. Indeed it was Adrian Herrando getting the driving standards flag. So that may or may not have been the wheel touching that I saw, but it's all part of the learning experience for these youngsters from the Iberian Peninsula of Spain and Portugal. 3-second penalty for a false start for carts 18, 22 and 24. 18, 22 and 24. 18 is Andy Pitts, 22 is Axel Charpentier and 24 is Daniel Nogales. So again, those guys are not going to be happy with that, but they will have learned something. Be a little bit more careful at the start. 18, 22 and 24 being penalised for an infringement at the start. 18 is Andy Pitts, 22 is Axel Charpentier and 24 is Daniel Nogales. The front two have gone through. Ayrton Simmons just beginning to, well, I said just beginning to pull away a little bit from Adrian Herrando, and he was, but right now Adrian Herrando looks as if he's more or less glued to the rear bumper of the race leader. We're on lap 6 of a 15-lap Micromax final. I've watched a fair little bit of Micromax racing, not least here in Portugal last year at Viana de Castela, when we had Micromax running separately and Minimax joining them in a grand festival of youth Rotax racing. Also seen quite a little bit of Micromax racing in the United States of America. Of course, the Micromax champions and Minimax champions of the USA don't come to the grand finals. We don't run anything more junior than our junior class. Ayrton Simmons has done a fast lap of 1:11.8 and nobody else has done better than 1:12.00. That's Adrian Herrando in second place, who's second fastest. Oscar Palomo, who dropped to fourth early on, back up to third, and Juan Carlos Rezoagli running fourth. They're all Spaniards, though Ayrton Simmons has British background. Santinho Mendes of Portugal is fifth, Axel Charpentier sixth, and Daniel Nogales seventh are Spanish. Andrea Pitts of Portugal is eighth. Sammy Worship, who I'm afraid I may have put the commentator's curse on. I've been rather pleased with how the commentator's curse has not been working, but I mentioned that Sammy Worship has been running at the front the whole of the weekend. He's only running 9th at the moment, just inside the top 10. The last place in the top 10 held by Kike Bordache. Heading round towards the half race distance. In fact, I can tell you now we do move into the second half of the race, because 7.5 laps have gone, just under 7.5 laps to go. 7.5 down, coming up to 7 remaining. Still a good race at the front, with Ayrton Simmons holding the advantage over Adrian Herrando. These two well clear of the rest of the field. Third place all on his own is Oscar Palomo, but the two at the front are giving us this good race, Ayrton Simmons and Adrian Herrando. On that lap 7, going through the half race distance, Adrian Herrando was quicker in second place than Ayrton Simmons in first place. 1 minute 12.4 versus 1 minute 12.5. Ayrton Simmons very smooth through the tight hairpin, although possibly Adrian Herrando a little bit quicker, because he did catch up a matter of inches there. But it's one thing to catch up. The passing move, if it comes, has to be conceived in the mind's eye and then executed. Just looking down to my right, the juniors coming out next for their final are getting ready in the assembly area. A little bit of nervousness there, I think I detect. our attention staying with these Micromax youngsters on lap 9 of a 15-lap race distance for their grand final. You're watching on screen the battle for 1 and 2. Leading is Ayrton Simmons of Spain, whose folks come from North London. In second place, Adrian Harando, who, so far as I know, only has Spanish background, although Adrian could have been a different nationality than a Hispanic one. Oscar Palomo still running in third place, but running rather on his own in third place. Bit of a lonely drive for the pole sitter. Juan Carlos Rezoagli is still fourth, and the first of the Portuguese drivers is Santino Mendes in kart 44, running fifth. And in fact, he hasn't run fifth, he's lost a couple of places, because it's Andre Pitts of Portugal in fifth place. Andre Pitts of Portugal fifth, Axel Chapontier of Spain sixth, and Santino Mendes, who I've just called, actually falling from fifth to seventh on lap 9. Staying with, on screen, the battle for the lead. Ayrton Simmons has held the lead for about 4 or 5 laps, but Adrian Harando has not been shaken off. The advantage with Ayrton Simmons. I wonder where he got that first name from, Ayrton. I think his father was a motorsport fan. Adrian Harando in second place, still very, very close. 1 1/4 lengths between them, and that 1 1/4 lengths lead, and about 1/4 of a car length between them. Now, a back marker in the mix. Haven't spotted that the back marker was that close. So let's keep an eye on how the drivers at the front. That back marker is Teddy Vallo of Portugal in kart number 45. And, well, as I take my eye off the screen, for a moment I thought that Adrian Harando had gone through, but let's see how they deal with the back marker. Not sure that I see the blue flag. Yeah, there is a blue flag, and they've gone past the back marker. And no, they haven't, but there is a blue flag there. Going past the back marker now, and there was the blue flag. And no issues, except that the gap between them has just widened a little bit. Ayrton Simmons is kart 23. Adrian Harando is kart number 10. Once again, the timing screen just giving me a little bit of anxiety, because Oscar Palomo in third place on my screen would appear to have only done 9 laps when everyone's done 10, but I don't think that's the case. I think that Oscar Palomo is there. Andrea Pitts has gained a place up to 4th, so Andrea Pitts, the leading Portuguese driver, now in 4th place. Once again, this first and second locked together. Confirmation that is Oscar Palomo, who has gone through in third place, and he has done 11 laps like everybody else. So just 4 laps remaining. The quickest time here has been set. Well, there's a surprise. It's been set not by one of these front two, but by Juan Carlos Rezoagli in 5th place. 1:11.46. These kids about 9-10 seconds slower than the seniors. 12 seconds or so slower than the DD2s. But of course they're driving D-tuned motors. Ayrton Simmons' advantage on the transponder readout is 0.13 of a second over Adrian Harando. As we look out on the circuit, they are indeed still locked together. Coming round to the right-hander, that climbs to the top of the hill, and the right-hander onto the home straight and downhill on the home straight over the start-finish line, and they both start lap 13. So 3 laps to go in the Micromax final. We're here at Portimao in the Algarve in the south of Portugal. The Grand Festival, Micromax and Minimax last year, was in the north of Portugal, Viana do Castelo on the northwest coast. That was in August. Here, at the end of November, section. It's not cold in itself, it's just that the wind comes off the hills, and when the wind comes off the hills, then it gives a wind chill factor that makes it feel cold. Without the wind, it's actually really quite a pleasant autumn temperature and autumn weather. Well, there's action in the 3rd, 4th, 5th place, isn't there? Because Andre Pitts has lost that 4th place to Axel Charpentier. I think Oscar Paloma been having a difficulty holding on. And as our television director moves to that battle now, you see in Micromax how easy it is to suddenly lose 3 places there. The guy's going over the start-finish line now. Let me tell you, Santino Mendes went through in 8th place, having lost places. Going up was Kilian Mayer, 7th. Andre Pitts having dropped to 6th. Oscar Palomo to 5th. Axel Charpentier remains 4th, but Juan Carlos Rezoagli, he was the winner in that exchange. He's gone up to 3rd. They're still all 4.5 seconds behind the front-running 2. Ayrton Simmons, the leader, and Adrian Herando in 2nd place. But just look at now, we often talk about wheel-to-wheel racing, side-by-side racing, we commentators, but that looks like side-by-side racing to me. The 2nd and 3rd of the guys on the right of your screen coming back into shot. And once again, make the slightest error in your entry into a turn or exit from the turn, and you can lose 5 or 6 places in Micromax. It can happen in the senior classes, but it's particularly the case in Micromax and Minimax. So race leaders, Ayrton Simmons and Adrian Herando, closer than ever at the end of that lap, 0.07. And is that a move for the lead? Yes, it is. Has he executed it well? He did execute it momentarily, but the next left-hand turn came to the advantage of Ayrton Simmons, so Ayrton Simmons holds on to the lead. But if I say a narrow lead, well, it's as narrow as the word narrow can mean. But now, Adrian Herando cranking up the pressure, but he got his angles wrong there. He got his angles wrong, and instead of being a couple of inches behind, Ayrton Simmons is now a cart length behind. So maybe a little rush of blood by Adrian Herando. Has got to do something though, because it is the last lap, and he's got past him. He's got past him. Adrian Herando just, and Ayrton Simmons goes off the circuit, but gets back into the circuit. Well, Ayrton Simmons now can only finish 2nd, but he'll want the stewards to have a look at that. But here's the checkered flag, and the victory on track goes to Adrian Herando. Adrian Herando wins. Ayrton Simmons is in 2nd place. This really good scrap for 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th goes to Juan Carlos Rezoagli in 3rd. Spanish drivers 1, 2 and 3. Andre Pitts of Portugal 4. Santino Mendes of Portugal 5. Then 5 more Spaniards complete the top 10. Pole sitter Oscar Palomo was 5th now. There's been a change on my screen. Kilian Mayer 6th. Kike Bordash 7th. Andre Pitts is dropped to 8th. Ah yes, Andre Pitts was cart number 18 who was assessed a 3-second penalty at the start. So Andre Pitts drops to 8th. Axel Charpentier, of which the same applies, drops to 9th. And Sammy Worship completes the top 10. But well done to our top 3. Juan Carlos Rezoagli 3rd. Ayrton Simmons 2nd, the long-time leader, but our winner, Adrian Herando.